So as we start the 2033 season, the sun is beaming through the window to my left. So excuse me if I'm leaning during this video to try to see our new signings. We've massively changed the squad, a whole new central midfield going in this season. Hopefully it can help, hopefully it takes us to the next step. We did obviously just win the league title, but I did take the decision that maybe now is the time to try to push on to that next step and not stagnate. So welcome to this episode. Like I say, hopefully you are well and hopefully you are enjoying the series. I have just got the notification that I have got a Steam achievement for having 10 years at one club. So happy days, anniversary for us. We are still an icon. We are not a legend of the club, which is a bit upsetting. In terms of icons, legends of the club, favourite personnel, Hein Larsen has signed a new deal. He was due to leave us at the end of the season, but just decided he wanted to stick around. So he's with us for another couple of years. 30 years old now. I've kept him around just because he's so versatile. Having a player who can play left back, right back, centre mid, and on the wing, I think it is a very versatile option to have. And yeah, adding that depth, quality, extra talent to the squad can only be a good thing. We have added some extra talent. I honestly can't see half my screen, so let me lean to see where the youth development centre is. There it is. And see, this, you don't get this high. Zealand doesn't have this content. He doesn't have to lean for the sun. I mean, I live in Norway. You wouldn't think I'd have to lean for the sun, but you know. So we've had youth intake. This is it. Happened a month ago. When did it happen? Does it say? It doesn't. It just says, well, it happened in March, alright? So we've got 3 players who are classed as elite talents. So let's check them out. First one is Over Alexander Egerdink. And I think he looks very decent indeed. Valued up to $1 million already. 16 years old. Now, I've not offered him a contract, and I made the mistake with some of the youngsters by offering them contracts as soon as they come in. What that then means is they have to be registered as a normal player. As a youth player with this youth contract, we can play them for 5 games a season before they're ineligible for the rest of the season. So he can play 5 games for the first team this season. Worryingly, he has an unambitious personality. We've had a few of them. Very upsetting that he has that. John, our head of youth, who is head of youth when you start, he has, what his personality is balanced. So I'm a bit upset that we keep getting a lot of unambitious. So the next one is the left winger, Erich Schmidt. And again, looks fairly decent. Again, quite talented. Good technicals. Physicals aren't bad as well. Mental's probably the weakest of the 3. But again, a very decent looking player. And Oscar Solly Lindskog, who is a striker who doesn't look too bad. Resilient personality. Valued up to 1.3 million. 15 years old. I haven't sold the face packs for these yet. I'll get that done during this season. So at some point they will become real looking people. Truss Omdahl is a centre mid who looks okay. In terms of defensive centre mid, looks talented. He's got finishing 16 though. He's one of them players who he can just play everywhere. Play centre back, centre mid and striker. It's not bad when you've got limited players. And then we go down, we start to lose a bit of the quality, to be honest with you, at this point, and nobody else really stands out quality-wise. But that is our head of youth development, which is going to, let me just, a bit more of a lean. Let me go to our under-18s, which is going to add a bit of depth to our under-18 squad. Now, in terms of quality in this squad, we've got some talent. For example, Tom Lalo has signed a new contract. He's got a couple of years. Does he have an extension? He does. Optional contract extension of 3 years as well. I really like this kid. We picked him up for 300k at the start of last season. He's still only 17. Doesn't turn 18 until June. And by the time he is 20, he is going to be a homegrown player at this club. So, Champions League and squad registration, massive help. He's 6'6" at the age of 17. And I can only see one way it's going to go with him, and that is being one of our first choice central defenders in a few years' time. So the fact that these people are still developing down in our youth team is just fantastic to see. Clef Christensen is another player who he topped the assists and goals, I think it was last year, for the youth league. Just talented, you know. Don't look like world beaters, but are doing really, really well in the youth team at the minute, so I can't complain. In terms of our B team, we do still have some good talent in here. If we go potential-wise again, try to pick out the ones who are not also in our youth team. They are here somewhere. So you've got the likes of this Eero Niemann, who did feature 4 times for the first team last year, is only 17, doesn't turn 18 for this guy until October. And again, joined us at the start of last season, so again, will be a homegrown player in a few years. I just want to see them continue to develop step by step, bit by bit, and just be the best that they can be. Then the final finish guy was someone else who we picked up at the start of last season. And again, someone who I do think could develop into a really good player. 18 years old now. He turned 18 in... he turns 19 this month. So he's one of the older ones. Does he have the ability to be as good as the younger 17-year-old who doesn't turn 18 until middle of this year? No. But he is solid, and we paid $500,000 for this one. This was our biggest spend of the 3. And he's still developing okay. So it's nice to see we have picked up some signs last year who are sitting in our youth teams and are still developing nicely. So going on to our transfers, our ins, and we've got 4 players who pop up on last year's list. So first off is Sander Bakid, who is a striker. Now, we did discuss how I was very short in the striker position. And this is one of the biggest mistakes I've made. Weirdly, even though I'm the Norway manager, I didn't see everything about this kid. He looks very talented, but he has an unambitious personality. And that, I think, is going to let him down. We picked him up for just over $500,000. And he's definitely going to add depth to our strike position long term, and we did need more depth. So I am happy to bring him in, but he's not as good as I hoped, and his unambitious personality does let me down, and I do worry that our first signing we're looking at is a mistake. So that's a bit upsetting. The next player to come in was someone who I picked up again. He was on a free transfer from MIDFIELD. He comes in mainly with the idea of just letting him develop with our coaching staff and just seeing what happens. He can play a striker, better probably more just behind the strike with his passing, first touch, etc., comparing to his finishing. He's okay. He was free. So, yeah. The next player coming in for $2.2 million for Werder Glimt is a 6', 20-year-old striker. $2.2 million well spent in my opinion. Better personality, fairly determined. 18 heading. 17 balance by the way as well. He just looks like a really talented striker. And he was happy to come in as a breakthrough prospect, which means he's not pushing Samare out of the first team squad. He is going to be a backup on the bench. And the final one on last year's list is Adam Hammer, an 18-year-old Hungarian goalkeeper. Now, all of my signings are picked up through my scout reports. So this guy was picked up through my scout reports, recommended to us. We paid $250,000 for him. He's 6'2". He's 18. Give him a few years in our youth teams, our B team. Maybe send him out on loan to Norwegian clubs. He could turn into a very, very talented goalkeeper. He could not. We paid $250,000 for him. It's worth a punt. So $12.25 million in the end last season. Spent $9.75 brought in. I don't like spending more than we make. And this year we've done it again. It's a bit concerning. But even this season on the list, we've already spent another $5.75. So let's go through them, shall we? First off, for $3 million. From Valerenga, Sander Brunn comes in to be a new attacking midfielder option in the central of midfield. I say an option, he is a star player contract. I had to offer a major contract for him. But look at him. He is a very, very talented central attacking midfielder. And I think we've picked up an absolute gem here. 18 years old, he's only going to develop, doesn't turn 19 till the end of this season. I think it's a very, very good signing. The next one coming in is, I'm really, really pleased with this signing, by the way. Could develop, not going to be in the first team starting 11, but is in around the first team. Steiner Hjeltestad comes in from Iceland, from BUBK, as I call him, because Breiðablik is quite difficult to pronounce. But central midfielder stroke winger. I see him as central midfielder. I don't see him as a winger. He's only 17, doesn't turn 18 till nearly the end of the season. I think that's a very, very good pickup. I really do. Let me know what you think. Do you see him as central midfielder as well? I think that's a really good bit of business as central midfielder coming in. The next one, 2 million. He's one of the oldest players we've ever picked up. He's 23 years old, but this Serbian again came through my scouts. Dorda Duric. And even though he's more of a central attacking option, I see him as a central midfielder on support, playing alongside our new attacking option, Brun, who we signed from Vålerenga. So these two in central midfield, I think, offer more than we've had in previous seasons. I think these two are better than we've had in previous seasons. Let me know what you think about that. But I think he's a very good pickup for 2 million. I can't see him being around for long. I honestly see this as a player who is with us for 2 or 3 years, then he moves on for 20, 30 million hopefully. But that means a whole new central midfield. And the final signing for 675k. Now, this annoys me. We signed Hammer, you know, the young Hungarian goalkeeper we just looked at. Now we've had to bring in a 34-year-old goalkeeper. He was the first choice for Sogndal last season because Knapskog and a few others agreed with him. I can show you. It is Dynamics. There you go. Knapskog. 9 people agree that we lack significant quality depth in the goalkeeping department. Okay. So in goalkeeping department we have Pedersen, who was first choice for Sogndal, who came second in the league last season, is our backup keeper, and we have Hansen. Okay. Then we go to our B team. And again, goalkeeper options. No, he must still be in the first team, is he? Did I miss him? Have I dropped him in the under-19s by mistake? Where is it? So in our B team, we have Hamer and we have Mira, who we picked up last season. Now, I know this in quality depth, but Hamer has potential 5-star as a third choice keeper. And we have 2 goalkeepers who were both first choice goalkeepers last season in the top flight. How are we lacking depth in goalkeeper department? How do 9 people agree? How? And also, Hegset wants to leave if we get a bid of 7 million. I don't think we're going to get a bid of 7 million, which is nice because he's actually developing into a very, very solid defensive midfielder. So, you're not going anywhere, pal. But, yeah, in terms of our squad then, going into this new season, I'm relatively pleased, relatively excited, and joyed with how we're looking. So, we're going to go Hansen in goal. Then we've got Basic at right back, who now is 20 years old, 18 cash for Finland. Then we're going to be going with Jørgensen. We've got Jørgensen, who's our first choice central defender, came through the academy, as you know. But we also have Damani, who can also play there, who is very, very talented. But honestly, I think I would like Orian Olsen to be our first choice centre-back alongside Lasko. So I think he will be our first choice centre-back this season, alongside Lasko, who is just insanely good. 20 years old now. Been with us a couple of years, will be a homegrown player by the time he turns 21. And Bastian still wants to leave, but he's still sticking around. Nobody's even considered coming in for him, so he is still an option. Hegset we have in defensive midfield. Brun we have in central mid alongside. For today, we're going to go with Knapskog in central midfield, and we will be looking to bring on Durish off the bench because he's only just signed. Legrid on the left, Pinker on the right. Pinker now is labelled as a wonder kid. So we picked him up for what, 2.5 million from Bran. and he is now labelled as a wonder kid. And then we have Samara up top, who is labelled as a rangy striker, and he's just very, very talented. Now, I know what you're thinking. Recap Europe. Recap Europe, Paul. No. 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 You know why? Because we are still in Europe, which means in the next episode it will be maybe the Europa League final plus the coefficient update, etc. So I'm not going to recap Europe. I'm going to do it all in the next episode. So thank you for watching. Thank you for staying tuned in. Thank you for enjoying the series. If you're enjoying it massively, there is Patreon link below to become a monthly subscriber. We are looking to move house, so that would be very beneficial. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.